Welcome back to the So Far So Good podcast. My name is Christopher Coombs.
And my name is Gaurav Khazanchi. Welcome back, everybody. It's good to be back.
It's good to have you tuning in once again for another weekly episode of the So Far So Good podcast. Now, as usual, we'll kick it off with our introductory questions.
Absolutely
as usual,
right.
We will not muck around and we will get straight into it.
Let's do it. Let's not muck around at all.
Let's not muck around. So I'm going in hard with my question to you.
All right.
My question to you is, now, a little bit of a backstory.
The mucking around has begun.
Look, we are in the midst of a pandemic in the world.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
A lot of negative things are out there.
Yep.
But I want to make this positive and ask you the question, what is the most positive thing that you've seen or has happened to you as a result of this pandemic?
Ah, okay.
Tough question, isn't it?
Okay. Off the top of my head, like, it may not be the most positive thing, but it's definitely one of the positive things. But, okay.
He's struggling.
All round, like, I appreciated things a lot, a lot more. When you miss things, you appreciate it. Mm-hmm. Okay, but one thing to pick out, a positive result from this pandemic. I'm trying to stretch it here, but a positive result, I've got the answer. I guess I can say I started working out again.
If any of you guys remember, we've talked about this before, and
It's true.
we know that Gaurav works out.
I mean, look. That episode we did talk about it. I did say I'm going to get back into it.
But he has been saying that for about 5 years, so keep that in mind.
That time, I put my foot down and I said I will do it. And then it was just unlucky for me that this whole pandemic happened. But there's no excuses, so I worked around it and I've been doing them at home.
So how consistently have you been exercising?
3 to 4 times a week.
Really?
Yeah.
Going hard?
Going pretty hard.
Wow.
That's on top of, like walking the dog and whatnot.
So do we have any sort of proof for this?
I mean, I can scavenge if I took any photos or something that I can send to you.
Okay.
Or I can show you the dumbbells I use, and I don't know, what do you want, man? I can strip down and you can see if there's visible results. I don't know.
Well, no, it's interesting. I mean, yeah, because you like to you like to say that you work out, but it's good to hear that you've actually done it.
I never lied about it. I wholeheartedly admitted that I don't do it. So that's me.
Look, I'm telling you, Gaurav would meet a new person, and when someone asks you, oh, so what do you do with yourself? Most people say, I do this for a job, or I do this, whatever. Gaurav would say, I'm a professional workout person. But he never does it.
That has never happened. Don't listen to Chris. Now, we're going to move on to my question. All right, Chris, you may have something on the top of your head when I ask this question, or you may need some time to stretch.
All right, well, I'm gonna push myself just from that. I'm gonna try and answer as quick as possible.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and use my gut
as quick as you can.
I feel like this is gonna be a tough question, though.
It's not as tough as what you just asked me, because that was a tough question. It's a fairly straightforward question. Okay.
All right, my brain is on and I'm ready to go.
All right, here we go. What is the one thing you always forget to buy?
Oh, I can't answer that quickly. Forget to buy.
If you want help, I can tell you why I came up with this question, and I can tell you my answer.
All right, give me your backstory.
The one thing I always forget to buy is batteries. It's just that one thing where I'm like, oh, I need to replace these batteries. I need the specific battery, but I'll never write it down for some reason, and then I'll get back from the shops and I'm like, oh my god, I forgot to buy that battery I needed. And then my, let's say, remote is out of battery for like 2 years all up, because that's how long I forget to buy the batteries for.
Yeah.
That's a quick example. Quick and fast, my experience.
All right, well, I can answer it. I wouldn't say I forget to buy it all the time.
Okay.
But it has been multiple times.
Yeah.
Now, I think I've spoken before that on the podcast before that I have the same lunch every single day.
Yeah.
And I pre-cook my meals.
Okay.
And what I have for lunch is I have rice, beans, frozen veggies, and obviously a bit of sauce to make it not dry, right?
The sauce has some sauce. Wow.
You've got to put sauce in it or else it's completely dry.
She's a new person, guys.
Now, it's not like I have like, a liter of sauce. I just put a jar of sauce into like a full, 5 lunches worth of
Fair
so
call.
now I generally already have the rice at home because you kind of you bulk buy that.
You bulk buy rice.
Sometimes bulk buy beans, but I never forget to buy the canned beans.
Yeah.
And then I never forget to buy the sauce because I buy that each time.
Yeah.
But more often, I forget to buy the frozen veggies. The reason is you just presume that you would have frozen veggies in your freezer.
Yeah.
You would just presume that, so you wouldn't buy it. But what I need to do is now, and I've noticed this in the last few weeks, is that I have to make sure I check and not presume. Because it's one of those things that you presume you always have it.
You talked about rice that whole time. You bulk buy rice, but I forget the veggies. I thought you were just going to say rice.
No, because you just always have rice.
Yeah, rice always just
and you would
there.
think you just always have frozen veggies, but you actually don't always have it.
No, it's a good answer. It's a solid answer. While you were talking about food, I thought another thing I forget to buy is dipping sauces when I get fast food or
that's
I go
not
out
a
to
big
restaurants.
deal.
It's 100% a big deal. And I've gone out and I said, oh my God, I forgot to order my sweet and sour sauce.
That actually happened 2 weeks ago when you had KFC at our house.
Yeah, you're
at
absolutely right.
my house.
Yeah.
So funny story. Gaurav's a sauce Nazi, basically.
Look,
So-
I just like sauce. I'm a sauce lover.
So we got KFC. We couldn't dine in, so we ended up coming back to my house to eat it.
Yep.
And I'm not a sauce advocate, but I will have sauce to make the food edible.
Yeah. For a guy that doesn't like sauce, he has a collection of sauces.
But I'm not an advocate. So Gaurav asks, do you have any sauce? And I'm like, yep, I'll bring out every sauce I have because I know how picky you are. Anyway, I walk out, I hold the sauces behind my back, and I say, all right, I've got every white sauce for you. I've got tomato, barbecue, sweet chili.
And it was that classic sweet chili sauce bottle that is just in every
glass
family's
bottle.
house. Yeah. It's what I picked. I picked the sweet chili and barbecue. But all round, great experience. I really appreciate that he had a selection of sauces.
But he was obviously underwhelmed as it wasn't specialty sauce like he's used to.
Well, you can't buy that sweet and sour sauce anywhere. It has to be from the restaurants.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah. Look, without further ado, let's get into it.
So far,
So good.
another week, another So Far So Good podcast. Thank you guys once again for tuning in.
That's absolutely right. And like Chris said at the start of the episode, we don't mess around. Even though, once again, our intro has gone for about 8 minutes, we don't mess around. So, getting straight into it as usual, hopefully. A few episodes ago, Christopher Coombs himself said, well, he told a whole story first. If you don't remember the story, go a few episodes back. He told a story about how he played basketball in a public basketball court and he realized it was too high. And anyway, the moral of the story is he said he wants to write a letter to the council who owns that basketball court because it was 7 centimeters higher than standard. So, what I thought was, why don't we both write a letter to this council? Like, we obviously haven't sent it. We've written the letters each, and we're going to read them out here. Now, I'm going to let Chris go first with his letter, because my letter is obviously on behalf of Chris. So that's why I want you to hear it from the man himself, and then you can hear it from a third party, which is me. So, Chris.
I like that.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah. So he's here with his letter, and I just got a peek of it, and it looks pretty extensive. So let's see. It's not too bad. If I get, if I want to ask you questions in between, I'll pause you and I'll ask you a
just
question.
cut me off and ask.
And okay.
All right.
So, whenever you're ready, give us your letter.
All right. To whom it may concern.
Strong start.
It has been a very difficult time during the COVID-19 pandemic crisis, and I hope all your family and friends are going well throughout it.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. You got to suck up to start
I'm
with.
actually very impressed. I didn't expect that.
That's right.
Because it's a complaint, essentially.
Yeah, it kind of is. You're right. All right. I then go on to say, one big positive in our area is Park X. Now, I'm calling it Park X for the podcast, by the way. It obviously has a proper name.
Proper name, just for confidentiality purposes.
Yeah. So I'll start that sentence again. So it goes, one big positive in our area is Park X. that has an awesome half basketball court and the lights that keep it bright until about 8:30 p.m., which is great.
Yep.
Park X has been a good escape and safe haven from all the problems in the world, not to mention also a perfect training spot for my group of basketball friends.
Wow, this is so far so good.
We have been able to use it after work when it gets dark due to the lighting, as we cannot use any indoor facilities at the moment.
Yeah.
So I appreciate having that in our city, as it has been the only place to train after hours.
Okay.
So that's where I start kind of sucking up, and
Yeah.
and that's where they start to go, hey, this guy's a great community member. So let's hear him out. All right. So I then go on to say, there is, however, one thing that could be improved to make it absolute perfection. We noticed that when we first started training, that the rings seemed to be a little higher than standard regulation height. After the first few training sessions, we decided to do a bit of a measurement, which actually showed us that it was in fact between 7 to 9 centimeters higher than regulation.
Okay.
Now I've added 7 to 9 just to exaggerate it a little bit, but it was specifically 7 centimeters.
And it also it makes it sound like you didn't remember the number, write it down, and you're giving her an exact measurement. So
yeah, that's right.
It doesn't make it sound so crazy,
Yeah,
even
that's
though
right.
you are.
I then go on to say, it may not seem like a big difference, but it does throw off your shot a bit when adjusting to the height.
I'm laughing because he's done a full hand action while he read that line.
And the reason I did that is because I didn't think you know what I was talking about. So I wanted you to know that throw off your shot means it makes you shoot differently.
I put 2 and 2 together.
Wow, you're basically a professional athlete.
Tell me about it.
I'll read that bit again. So, it may not seem like a big difference, but it does throw off your shot quite a bit when adjusting to the height and then adjusting back to a proper-sized hoop.
Yep.
All right? Now, I'm aware that this is a first-world problem. Obviously referring back to the So Far So Good podcast.
Did you, in brackets, reference the podcast? So Far So Good 2020?
That could be an edit we could add. Oh, yeah. Like reference.
Proper, like Harvard or whatever referencing it is.
That's not a bad idea. Hey, all that English in school was built for this moment.
Yeah, when they said you wouldn't use it in real life, they were wrong.
Yeah. So, I go to say, now I'm aware that this is a first world problem and you may have bigger issues at hand. However, I do plead that if you could please spare some time and get some of your workers to head down and slightly lower the height of the ring/the pole to get it closer to the regulation height. This would be awesome for all the professional basketballers in the area, as well as all the kids that love to use Park X regularly.
Very good.
Thanks so much for your consideration. I look forward to you helping out the community and providing a greater city for us all. Kind regards, Chris.
Very, very well done. I mean, I feel like it deserves a round of applause. I'll give you a round of applause here. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Now, I want to say, I just want to pick you out on that close to the end there. You said, for all the professional basketball players, making it seem like this city is full of NBA players. So, I like that addition there. All in all, very good letter. I didn't know you were so good at writing. So I'm very impressed.
Well, I mean, you don't necessarily have to be good at writing. You just need to think about what you want to say.
Yeah.
And if you're passionate about something, I feel like it'll just come to you.
It's true.
And you know what? I have said this as a philosophy of mine from the start, that no matter what you want to do in life, you just have to try.
Yeah, okay. I really thought you were going to say the sun rises and the sun sets.
No, it's a philosophy I've literally always used my entire life. Like,
yeah.
Never think I can't do this or I'll never be good at that. Like, just try.
Yeah.
If you fail, try again. Just keep trying. And you know what? You'll be able to write a letter that good eventually.
It's just a humble brag. One humble brag after the other. But I appreciate it. Now, like I mentioned before, my letter is on behalf of Christopher Coombs. So, I did have a little bit of leeway here in terms of, like, I could say whatever I wanted because it's on behalf of you.
That's right.
I'm going to go ahead and start reading out the letter that I wrote.
All right. And as well, if I have any questions, I'll just stop you along the way.
Stop me along the way. Cut me off. Okay. Here we go. Dear Council. Now, I just want to give a bit of backstory. I've actually made sort of a fictional / based on true events a name for the person I'm writing to. So obviously in my life I have been to the council once or twice. And I remember last time I went to the council, the girl who served me, her name was Sarah.
Alright, so we're calling her Sarah.
Yeah, I've given her a fake last name. Her full name in this situation is Sarah Council, and
I had a feeling that was coming.
And she works for the council.
Well, why don't we say at the start, what did you say, Dear Council?
I said Dear Council, so I'm like addressing it by her last name.
Why don't we make it Dear Mrs. Council?
Okay, let's say Dear Mrs. Council, and her name is Sarah Council. Just like we discussed once in the past, you know, how everyone names their companies after their last names. It's a similar situation.
Yeah, that's right.
Besides the point. Alright, Dear Mrs. Council, I am writing this letter as a friendly complaint. Friendly? I said friendly.
Friendly complaint.
Yeah, because...
it's a rough start, because the word complaint is quite intense.
But you'll see how I fix this for myself when I continue on.
Alright.
I am writing this letter as a friendly complaint on behalf of my friend, who I shall not name for confidential reasons. So, for the purpose of this letter, I will refer to him as C. Coombs or Christopher C.
What a stitch up.
I stole that line from The Simpsons.
Did you really?
Yeah.
He loves
Similar
The Simpsons.
situation happened. All right. My friend C. Coombs constantly and probably unknowingly humble brags, in quotation marks, about his...
I can guarantee this is going to have nothing to do with the ring. It's just going to be a shot on me the whole time.
No, look, come on. You haven't even let me finish this.
All right.
All right. My friend C. Coombs constantly and probably unknowingly humble brags about his exceptional basketball skills, and me, being a good friend, wholeheartedly listen and encourage these humble brags.
That is not true. That is not true.
Wholeheartedly agree.
I can't wait for Mrs. Council to listen to our previous episodes.
Sarah Council. Okay. My friend Christopher C. stumbled into a problem recently, though, regarding one of your public basketball courts. Now, being the local professional basketball player that he is, it comes to no surprise that he carries around a measuring tape in the boot of his car and probably his pocket too at all times. That's just true facts. I'm just telling you that.
Well, I'll say it now anyway. I was actually telling Gaurav off air yesterday. We were actually playing a video game.
His
I don't know if you've heard of it, Combat Arms. But now I went to my local $2 shop and I needed to buy something, but I needed an FPOS minimum. So I went to look at buying something else and I found a tape measure. and I realized I needed one to keep in my basketball bag at all times. So rather than taking the one out of my garage and putting it in my bag each time. So I've now got a tape measure that stays in my basketball bag constantly.
I just love how he saw a tape measure, and I can just imagine like the cogs in his head turning, thinking, "Oh my god, I could measure so many basketball rings with that tape."
That's exactly what happened.
His next thought was, "I can keep this in my basketball bag, not your toolbox, your basketball bag." I mean, one day he'll have one in his lunchbox. Who knows? But
that is exactly what happened. I'm telling you now.
Okay, look, impressive that you're consistent at least. Okay, at all times. That's why I finished that. I'll continue the letter. He admitted to me that he used this measuring tape to measure the height of one of the basketball rings at the aforementioned public basketball court when he felt that it seemed a bit higher than usual. Now, as I mentioned, C. Coombs is a local professional basketball player, as he proclaims humbly. So naturally, he would know when the height of a basketball ring is not quite right. To the conclusion of his experiment, he realized that the ring was actually a shocking 7 centimeters higher than a professional regulated basketball ring, which, in my opinion, is a whole 6 centimeters taller than a measly 1 centimeter.
What?
I'm just trying to dig in how I'm like on your behalf, but in the letter, I also want to make it sound like I'm on your side.
Yeah. So we're talking 6 times.
6 times 1, which is why.
I mean,
said that in comparison.
So yeah, if you tell Mrs. Council, if you times something by 6. That's huge.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not 6 times taller than it needs to be, but it's 6 times 1 centimeter.
Imagine
Actually,
your
7
house.
times 1
Imagine
centimeter.
your house was 6 times as big as the house you have now.
Yeah.
You would want it, wouldn't you?
You're not helping yourself out. Okay, I'll continue. Now, whatever reason there may be for having such a disgracefully tall basketball ring cannot possibly justify such an injustice to the sporting world. I kindly request that, for the sake of upcoming athletes in the new generation, this error be rectified at your earliest convenience. And if it's not convenient for you, then Christopher C. will probably find his own way of fixing your mistake. Kind regards, C. Coombs' friend. And I didn't put my name in.
Wowee. That was an interesting finish.
Thank you. Thank you.
I don't think I'll be rectifying the issue myself, though.
Well, it'll be
How would
tough. If you carry a tape measure in your basketball bag, you could eventually carry a chainsaw, some glue as well, and make it a hybrid basketball bag toolbox.
Well, I guess all that needs to be done is to get some massive machine and just push the pole down a bit more.
Or just unscrew the backboard and lower the backboard. That seems like the easiest solution.
Yeah, that's right. That
Because
probably
the
would
pole is longer than... I mean, I don't know what you were thinking. Cutting down the pole or lowering it as if there's some excess space in the ground that it can just...
Well, there probably is, but it's concreted, so it's impossible to do.
It is tough. I mean, look, I'm very impressed with your letter. That seems obviously like something you could send to Sarah Council. I would never send this in any world to the council. Actually, maybe I could because I haven't put my name in it.
That second last sentence
Yep.
you had there, can you just read that one out for us again?
Okay. Is that about the reasons?
No, it was about could you rectify this
Okay.
issue, blah, blah, blah.
I said, I kindly request that, for the sake of upcoming athletes in the new generation, this error be rectified at your earliest convenience.
Yeah, that's it. That, I will definitely be adding that to my letter, because that's a great sentence.
Earliest convenience?
Just that whole rectify this issue, earliest convenience. It's all
Yeah.
very nice, friendly, professional wording.
Thank you. And do you like how I didn't say it was for you? I said it was for the upcoming athletes.
Exactly,
in the new
and that's
generation.
why I mentioned the kids. And,
Yeah.
Because it's for the greater community.
Exactly.
You know?
I mean,
It's
children
not just
are our
for me,
future. Exactly.
although I am quite important. But
Humble brag. Actually, that wasn't very humble. That was just a brag, straight up.
nah, but yeah, all right. Well, is there anything else that you think you would want to add from your letter to mine?
I mean, apart from if I could fit it in anywhere, more digs at you. Not really. But I'm pretty happy. I'm all in all happy. I mean, I was enjoying writing this letter.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I'll definitely add that
Yeah.
that sentence we spoke about.
Actually, something that I would take from your letter is the whole essay at the beginning about, hope you're doing well, a bit of sucking up,
Yeah.
just a bit of friendly.
because at the end of the day, if someone likes you, they want to help you.
100%.
And we know that from all our customer service.
Yeah, exactly right.
People that complain and complain and complain, you don't want to help them.
Not at all.
But someone who's super genuine and just really asking for help,
Yeah.
and they're appreciative of your time,
Yeah,
then
absolutely
you
right.
literally will go over and above to help them. So
Yeah.
it may work.
And I've said it many times. I feel like it should be compulsory for every single person to work in hospitality or customer service once in their life. The world will be a great place.
But the problem is some people do it for 10 years and then they still treat people like crap.
Yeah, that is true.
And those kinds of people, yeah.
Well, those kinds of people I'll be sending my letter to because I'm still safe. They don't know who it came from. They just may be able to figure out your first and last name.
Yeah, that's right. But all in all, I believe we will send this off this week.
Okay.
So let's see if we even get a response.
And by we, you mean you.
Yeah. Look, if I get a response, at least I reckon it'll be a win.
Yeah.
But I have the feeling we won't even get a response.
Yeah.
Are you
It does
thinking the
sound like
same?
a bit of a troll, regardless whose letter it is.
But it's true. Is it not true?
No, it is true. I'm not denying that.
No, I
fact.
don't think it's a troll.
But, I mean, imagine getting a letter for such a minor issue. But it is true. You're right. You're right.
But if you're
And look, it is a council. Everyone pays council fees, so I guess you have every right to be upset about this.
Think about it. Imagine you play volleyball, right?
Yeah.
Imagine the volleyball net was 7 to 9 centimeters higher. It makes a difference.
It does.
Makes a big difference.
Yeah.
You think it doesn't, but it does.
No, I agree. It would.
Any sporting people out there, look, even if you play soccer, if the bar at the top was 7 to 9 centimeters higher, makes a big difference.
If you play cricket and the ball was 7 to 9 grams heavier, makes a difference.
Yep.
It works with anything. You could say it with anything. If the podcast was 7 to 9 minutes longer, it would be epic.
Yeah. Or if the podcast was 7 to 9 minutes shorter,
it would make a difference in a bad way.
Exactly.
Unless people have shorter drives, it may... Look, that's a bit of a touchy subject. Maybe we shouldn't use our podcast as an example anymore.
Yeah, just yeah. Go listen to another podcast.
Let's move on. Now, I remembered this story recently, and I wanted to bring it up, because it is quite funny, and it does involve the both of us, Gaurav Khazanchi and Christopher Coombs.
Of the So Far So Good podcast.
Absolutely right. Welcome back. Now... We have mentioned in a few episodes that at one point in my life, I bought a bicycle again because I just wanted to, ride my bicycle around places that are nearby. Good exercise and it's good fun. And it's just one of those things that feel almost nostalgic. And it's just a feeling you miss. You feel extremely free when you ride a bicycle.
Yeah, 100%. And just to be a bit more specific, it's a BMX push bike.
Yeah,
basically.
It's a BMX.
Smaller bike.
Yeah, I didn't buy a mountain bike or anything.
He wanted to go basically to the skate park and stuff.
Yeah, it's like I have the option to take it to the skate park and do some tricks. Because basketball isn't the only thing Chris is good at. He as well had a BMX and he wasn't bad at doing tricks at the skate park. He doesn't humble brag much about it now because I feel like he's taken a bit of a hiatus from it. But, he's just naturally athletically gifted, as he says almost every episode.
You're literally the one that says it every time.
Okay. Besides the point.
Although all talks of this, I kind of want to go to the skate park now.
Yeah, I know. I'll do it. Now, when the idea first came up, it was actually several years ago. It was in the middle of our university degree. And I was telling Chris the idea, I'm like, dude, I'm going to buy a bicycle. Like, it's going to be so good. I'll buy a BMX. It'll be so much fun. And then I even hyped him up. He's like, yeah. Like, do it. One day, a couple of weeks later, he sent me a message. He's like, dude, so there's this bike here. We can go to this bike shop. It's only a couple $100. And it should be fine. Let's go. And I wholeheartedly trusted him. I didn't even Google the bike. I didn't even check different models. I'm like, nah, done. He knows his bicycles. I'm going to go to the shop with him and I'm going to buy it. We'll put it in his car and we'll ride bikes together again. So we did it. It was a great bike. We built it together. We put it together. And it was good. It was all good. It was all fun. We went for a bike ride here and there. It was the first day, so I've only had the bike for this one day. Now, I don't know if you remember this, but the main part of the story you should remember. We went to the skate park and we're doing minor tricks and whatnot. Slowly, very slowly, I'm realizing, yes, it was a good affordable bike, but it may not be the best for like these sort of tricks and whatnot. Just minor things like, the sprocket was larger, things like that. Now, this is the first bicycle I'm talking about. It's the first one during the uni days. I do have a different one now, but it was the first one a little while ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we go back. This is the next day now. It's probably been 1 or 2 days since I've owned this bike, and then I've ridden to Chris's house, and Chris is just using my bike. He's just doing the odd trick, the odd mono on it, and then he starts doing like bunny hops on the bike, and bunny hops is when you just hop on it and the two wheels pop up.
You basically just jump.
Yeah, you're just jumping and the bike's hopping around, and he's doing bunny hops on it. And then I'm just, we're just having a chat outside his house, and then he starts doing monos, and then he's doing mono bunny hops, which is where you're on the back wheel, you're balancing really professionally, and you're just hopping on that back wheel up and down, and you're keeping your balance.
Yeah, and just to get this right, I then from there started doing 180 bunny hops.
Yeah, so
you can do you can be riding, you can do a 180 and then you can like kind of roll backwards and then spin around.
Yeah.
So I was doing 180 bunny hops at that point.
100%. It's not an easy trick. It's actually quite difficult because when you land, the bike automatically rolls a certain way and you have to control that roll. This is way beside the point. But back to the mono bunny hops. he's doing the bunny hops. Just going up and down, just casually talking, you know. I'm just chilling on his bike. He's just on my bike doing these bunny hops. I just want to make it clear, he's doing back wheel mono bunny hops. So he'd hop, bounce down, ride around a bit, bounce again. He does this bunny hop. It's quite high. He bunny hops this one time and it goes up high. And then he lands. But he doesn't bounce down flat back on the second wheel. Somehow, he's just implanted and he's standing upright on one wheel and he's just balancing there. And then we both realise he's bunny hopped so hard. He's bent the wheel into a 90-degree angle. And it's now caused it to go onto like a stand, keeping him upright. But it took us both a second to realise because we were just having this conversation and we were talking. And then we're like, how have you not, you know, with gravity just fallen down again? Yeah. He's just stayed up there as if he was stuck on a tripod. And then we look at the wheel and it's bent perfectly 90-degree angle. And then I'm thinking, I literally bought this bike 2 days ago.
And normally when you land, you continue rolling, but I was just frozen.
He was just like, frozen.
What is happening?
It was just one of the funniest sights. And then I'm thinking, Chris recommended this bike to me. I completely trusted him, but that wasn't. I didn't care about that. It was just the thought process. So we both make an effort to kind of straighten up the wheel.
But to be fair, I think it was under $100.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Look,
maybe $150. It wasn't any more than $150 for sure. Because I believe we got it from one of the very well-known retailers.
No, it was an actual bike shop.
Really?
Yeah, it was a bike shop, but a smaller one. And it definitely was on the cheaper side. So, yeah. So we both attempt to try and straighten out this wheel. So at the very least, I could ride home. We get to it's all right. We get to a point where it's all right. But there's obviously a curve in this wheel. So I'm just, thank goodness my way home was downhill.
But also about 4 or 5 of the spokes were stuffed. And I think they came out.
Yeah, a few of the spokes came out. So it was risky riding home. And it was almost an impossible feat. But we did it. We somewhat straightened the wheel. And the whole way home, because it was still curved in like 3 different places of the wheel, it would ride normally. And then every now and then just incrementally squeak on the brake because of the curve. So I'd be rolling like... which would cause me to slow down as well, even though it was downhill. Then there was a long period of time where I tried to sell that bike for like $20. I literally advertised it as it has a broken wheel. If someone knows what they want to do with it, they can take it. End of the day, I just had to throw it out. And I replaced it with a much better bike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, sorry about that.
It was just, I just remember the sight of you doing the mono and just...
Yeah, because I remember I didn't land straight up. I landed like on an angle.
Yeah.
So when you land on an angle with a not great quality wheel, that's what's going to happen. And it always buckles the wheel.
Yeah. That's the word.
So it always, even on a professional bike, if you land sideways and not completely flat, like straight up, it'll buckle the wheel. But obviously on a cheaper bike, it just snaps it into a right angle.
Yeah, it was more than a buckle. It was, oh man, that was like the epitome of buckling. Yeah. Well, lucky you have a new bicycle.
Yeah, and the new bicycle that Gaurav got has the smaller spoke and the smaller sprockets.
It's got the thicker wheels, so you can definitely do monos on it.
Yeah. We need to do up our bikes again, clean them out and probably go for a ride down to the skate park.
I'm definitely down for that. So.
And that reminds me of another story is when we did get into that little fad of riding our BMX bikes again. We actually convinced one of our friends to buy a BMX bike as well.
We did, yes.
Now,
we did.
this friend, you will have heard a story about him where he overheated in his car. And he got sent to hospital because he overheated.
Yeah, that's correct.
Now, he also bought a BMX bike because he wanted to ride around with us.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we got on maybe one ride together.
Yeah, it was 1 or 2. Yeah,
maybe maximum 2.
Yeah, very minimal.
Now he happens to keep his bike in his carport.
Yep.
And
no, it's a full garage.
Well, garage carport.
Yeah.
Kind of. He doesn't actually have. I would call it a carport. It's where you park the car.
Yeah.
So, and about 70% of the time, he leaves his carport door up.
Yeah.
Like the sliding rolling door.
The rolling door,
He keeps the rolling door up.
Yeah.
And what do you know? Within a couple of weeks of him having the bike, he walks out to the garage to go ride his bike. And what do you know? The bike's not there.
Yeah, it got stolen. We didn't pull a prank on him. His bike genuinely got stolen.
Although it would have been a good prank. He thought we pranked him, didn't he?
I don't remember. Yeah, actually, yeah, because he was like, "Guys, where's my bike?"
And we said, "Was your roller door open?" That's where it is. Stolen.
Yeah, he ended up replacing the bike too, but we haven't gone rides since then. But look, all in all,
we definitely need to organise that, and we should have, considering all this free time in isolation.
It's true. I'm more than happy to do it again.
Although daylight savings is a killer. By the time you finish work, it's just pitch black already.
Yeah, you can get a headlight. I never rode a bike with a headlight.
Yeah, but being at the skate park is not lit up. That's the issue.
True. We should write a letter to the council saying they should light up the skate park like they light up the basketball court.
Well, that's another story. And it is actually within the same council, I believe.
You'd hope so, if it's the same council we're thinking of. Otherwise, I shouldn't be writing to Sarah Council. I should be writing to, I don't know, Jessica Council.
Now, just on that council lettering, we also plan to write another letter to the council about the lines in the middle of intersections that we spoke about. Was it last episode?
It was last episode, I think. Yeah.
Now, we intend to write a letter regarding that as well. And we're going to do the same thing where we write one each and compare and make a gelled improvement, I suppose you could call it. Now, I believe we'll do that in the next few episodes.
Yep. So keep an eye out, keep an ear out, keep whatever out, and just be prepared for it. But guys, this week, thank you so much for tuning in.
It's been great having you on board listening, as always, to the So Far So Good podcast.
And we hope to catch you next week as we are here every Monday.
One other thing, jump on our Instagram. If you have any questions that you want us to ask each other, put it on a comment on one of our photos or just DM us on Instagram. So it's at So Far So Good Podcast.
Yep, we attempt to reply to every single message, so don't stress.
Yeah, that's right. The thing is, we always have an answer for any question. So I'm putting the challenge out there. Ask us a question that you think is difficult, and I can guarantee with certainty that we can have an answer for any question.
Chris speaks for himself in that case. I may not have an answer.
He will have an answer. Or else he's kicked off the podcast.
Fair enough. So far, so good.
But that's all we have for this week's episode. So once again, or should I say 5 times again, thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate having you every time. And we will catch you on the next episode.
Goodbye. Now, as I mentioned, C. Coombs is a local professional basketball... I'll say it later. Now, as I mentioned, C. Coombs is a local professional basketball player as he... oh my God, I messed up again. I wrote it myself. I didn't realize it was so tough. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, C. Coombs is a local professional basketball player as he... I can't say the word.
Say it a bit slower.
I slowed down so much. Okay, I'll go again.